Hey everyone, Michael here for IGN with my good pal Brian Altano. Thanks so much for joining us. Hey buddy.
Hey.
And you know, as someone who just joined the company this year, right in time to miss E3 last year, I gotta say I couldn't be more excited to attend E3 in person in 2021. And I assume, you know, I'll be vaccinated in the next couple weeks here, so I'm going to assume it's safe to say I will be seeing you, my friend, in person at E3 2021, yeah?
You will be seeing E3, and you will be seeing me in the same way you've seen me for a while now, which is on your computer screen. But you will not be attending E3 in person, Michael, because E3 is entirely digital this year. E3 is back. It's not a physical place for us to share just yet, but E3 is happening, and it will be entirely happening on your computer screen.
Ah, shucks. Well, you know, that does nothing to lessen my excitement, Brian, because I was one of the lucky ones this year. I was able to get a PS5, Brian.
All right.
So I'm excited for that classic combo, Sony at E3, to see everything that's coming up for my PS5. Brian, tell me how excited I can be about that.
Okay, well, E3 is back in digital form, and a bunch of publishers have signed on, some of the biggest on Earth. But one that is noticeably absent is Sony for the second year in a row. Last year, they bailed on E3 before the pandemic even hit. It's like they had an idea it wasn't a great year for it. And this year, they have not yet confirmed if they will be part of E3 at all either. So your PS5 can be used to stream E3, I believe, but you will not get any new first-party Sony news during that E3 window.
All right. Well, my heart is shattered, Brian, but there is a lot of positives around still having E3. Of course, it's better than not having it. So what else do we know that's pertinent about this year's E3, all bits aside?
So the good news is E3 is back. Last year it took a year off. It didn't even try to go digital. It just straight up got canceled, which I believe, you know, we all feel was for the best. Pretty much every major event got canceled last year. This year E3 has returned. There were rumors for a while on what that would be, whether that would be a paid event, which a lot of people were like, no, and whether it was even going to happen or if it was going to be a small in-person gathering, which we're also like, no. But this time around, it is digital. We have a long list of publishers that have already signed on for it, which is really cool because obviously E3 lives and dies by the games and the game companies that are showing up. So far we've got Nintendo, Xbox, Konami, Capcom, Ubisoft, Take-Two, Warner Brothers, and also Koch Media. So all of those studios will be bringing new games, perhaps presentations, press conferences, all that fun stuff. Obviously, Bethesda will be part of the Xbox thing in some way. We're not sure exactly how those two things will be conjoined. But yeah, this will happen from June 12th to June 15th this summer. I think it's really, really awesome because if you look at last year, the summer of gaming, Summer Games Fest, all that fun stuff. You know, IGN did a thing, Jeff Keighley did a thing. Everyone pretty much threw their hat in the ring. It was sort of this sprawling, meandering, season-shaped event that had no discernible beginning or end, which was fun for people that kind of wants this, you know, floaty news dump over the course of 3 or 4 months. But this time it seems like we are going to get a laser-focused blast of video game news for 3 or 4 days at a time, which is really, really cool.
Right, and correct me if I'm wrong, but even the companies that aren't officially part of E3, they'll be running their own directs and lives and announcements, so it will feel more like a real E3 is upon us, albeit in digital form. Brian, I gotta ask, as someone who's covered this beat and seen E3 change many times from public-facing to sort of privatized, so to speak, then back to public-facing, and now, of course, forcibly through life circumstances becoming a completely free. They considered charging for it. The internet won't accept that, so completely free, just show up. Do you think that E3 will ever be the same again?
Well, I mean, I'll always personally miss the sort of pomp of E3, like the big loud buildings full of polyester tanks hanging from the ceiling and stuff like that. But over the last few years, we saw that show floor space shrink and be confined more and more towards the center of the room, whereas the outskirts were relegated to things like the U.S. Army and Bang Energy. I'm okay with this moving in this direction. I don't think people are ready yet to get into a building with 40, 50,000 people just yet. I do think we will get there eventually, but by then maybe things will have changed so much. Over the last few years, they experimented with selling tickets to the general public, but they didn't really create a scenario in which that was a justifiable situation. Public would pay money, hundreds of dollars, and then show up and have to stand in line while, press schmucks like myself would cut them to go to a demo. And I don't think that's entirely fair. I don't think they really coordinated that event to work well for the general public. Whereas now I think everybody's going to be on the same page. There are some cool things that they could do, which I think we've all been wanting for a while, which is beaming show floor demos directly to our televisions at home. We have next gen consoles and current gen consoles, or last gen consoles, whatever you want to call them. And this is the time, I think. Like, you take a demo that would have been there at E3 with a long line standing in front of it, and you go, hey, this is on your Xbox and your PS5 right now. So jump in, start playing it, and enjoying it. I think there's also, you could have a merchandise store. I don't know if you really need a attended E3 digitally 2021 t-shirt, but who knows? There could be some stuff there. I think that, like, the idea of having a bunch of publishers, game developers, artists, everyone surrounding the games industry coming together to celebrate this medium for a few days is a really good thing. Whether or not this stays in this shape forever, I'm not sure, but I think this is a good step forward for the ESA, for E3, and for gamers in general.
And I also think as more and more developers and publishers have been forced to take control of their own sort of like ancillary marketing apparatus, I think companies like EA, Activision, and Sony might realize that they like it that way, that they like having control of the message and having the direct really come directly from them. I mean, we saw CDPR do this elaborate, dispatches from Night City thing around a single flagship game. So I think we will see that more and more, and I wonder if they'll ever be content to go back to the way it was, where the ESA is like a building that we all show up at. But we shall see. I would love to physically go somewhere on behalf of IGN someday and meet you in person. That would be delightful.
We've actually met in person several times.
What? Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, the interesting thing is that over the last few years, I believe the proprietary format of setting up a booth at E3 became so expensive that companies didn't really see a point of return on that. And so EA, Activision, and even Sony all were like, we're not doing this. We don't need to be there. And so maybe digitally they'll be enticed to come back. I think they're all going to do their own events, so you are not free from that sort of sprawling, meandering 3-month summer game thing that's going to be happening this summer eventually. But also, Sony had tremendous luck last year and success showing off the PS5 on their own terms. It was, one of the most popular live streams of the year was the PS5 debut. Obviously, they're not going to debut brand new hardware again this year unless it's PSVR 2, which won't do the same numbers. But there's room here. I think there's a lot to be excited for. I don't think necessarily Sony needs to be part of this, but it would be cool if they were, just to have everybody under the same digital umbrella, I guess.
I think that's about everything we know about the shape of E3 for now, but of course, any updates that come along, we will keep you apprised right here on IGN, and we'll see you next time.
See you soon. E3's back! Sort of.
Kind of.
Kind of.